Hey guys, it's Stephen here, back with another video. The day after Manchester City is very entertaining. Utter romp of a game of football in a 2-0 victory over Aston Villa. It was an absolutely brilliant game, and I'm absolutely delighted still today, this morning, after City temporarily went top of the Premier League. And I'm going to talk about 5 things that I personally took from that game, and I can't wait to dive into. Before I do that, though, I've got to say, as ever, thank you to OneFootball for being absolutely awesome. Big up OneFootball. What an app. It's free to download in the link in the description below. And as you can see on screen, it's not just the Manchester City news that you'll get, which of course you want with all the stats and all the fixtures and all the transfer news. You also get news from across the world of football. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on for free, get the #1 football app on the market right now in the link in the description. Help support my channel as well. If you haven't already downloaded it, as you can see next to me, it's absolutely excellent. So what are you waiting for? Go download it right now. Let me know in the comments if you have as well. Big love to OneFootball. I'd also like to say quickly thank you to my latest Patreon, Richard Keeler. Richard, you absolute legend. Big love to Richard who's jumped on the $3 tier. Thank you so much, Richard, for the support. It really does mean a lot to me. Patreon.com/Esteemed Company or YouTube.com/Esteemed Company/join. They're the 2 ways you can help out and support my channel a little bit. So hopefully you enjoy seeing me create all this content for you guys. Don't forget as well, you can just like and comment and subscribe, and that more than helps. But for now though, big love to Richard Keeler. What a guy. Right, let's get into the 5 things that we learned. The first one we're going to start with, we're going to talk about Silva's gold. Bernardo Silva is absolutely fantastic. Spread the word, pass it on, all that kind of stuff. I loved Bernardo Silva last night. I absolutely loved how he stepped up in that second half and drove the team onto a genuinely memorable, genuinely important victory for Manchester City. Games like last night, well, they can really shape a season, and moments last night like Bernardo's goal, well, they definitely can inspire a team on to go and do bigger and better things. And it was almost something like of the Kompany goal against Leicester to Bernardo's goal last night. The game was tense, it was nervy, the weather was awful, and it looked for all the world that City weren't going to get the breakthrough that the chances they created deserved. Villa were a good side, they played really well, and sometimes you need a moment of brilliance. And despite all those comically easy chances that we missed, genuinely missed chance after missed chance after missed chance, of course, we then scored an absolute worldie to cancel that out. It was a fantastic finish from Bernardo, and it also summed up his whole performance. Yesterday, Bernardo was absolutely everywhere, running with his usual desire and enthusiasm, but also going on dribbles past through the middle of the pitch. I loved it. I absolutely thought Bernardo was fantastic. And when we needed him to step up after Kevin De Bruyne went off, of course he stepped up. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And in terms of the offside stuff, well, he's onside for one, according to the rules. Rodri was onside according to the rules, of course. Maybe the rules are a little bit annoying for some people, but they are literally the rules. And if they want to change them at some point, go for it. But for now, it's a legit goal. There's nothing anyone can do about it. I love it. Secondly, I want to talk about Phil Foden. I thought he was absolutely excellent last night. And for me, the most exciting thing about Phil Foden's performance is it was the most complete winger performance that we've seen from Phil Foden so far. There was moments where he reminded me of Leroy Sané with his dribbling ability. Genuinely, some of that footwork was absolutely mesmeric. Running around Aston Villa's players, running rings around them. And there was one run in particular where he got the ball on the right-hand side and went on a curved run right down the heart of Aston Villa's defence. That was just pure Leroy Sané, and I absolutely loved it. I think he's improving, getting more and more confident, he's getting more and more strong. He knows when to run at people, knows when to hold up, knows when to make the pass or go for goal himself. And even though obviously he could have had an assist or goal himself last night, I thought Phil Foden's overall involvement was absolutely fantastic. It was almost like essentially a proper winger's performance from a guy who has no right to be that good in the left wing. I thought he was absolutely excellent. And honestly, this kid, once again, I would say he probably slightly outshined Jack Grealish, who's got all the attention at the moment. I'm not saying he's better or anything like that, but what I will say is he could have easily gone into his shell last night, but on a horrible night once again with the condition being absolutely awful, Foden stepped up and showed yet another step forward in his development. He continues to improve. He continues to be absolutely awesome. What a player. Genuinely what a player. It's like he can play anywhere in the midfield or across the front at the moment and be really, really effective. But there was really encouraging signs last night that I think Foden might actually nail down this left wing slot for now. Not in terms of the long-term future because he might move to midfield. But for now, though, this slot in the team, I think it's definitely his, and rightfully so. I mean, that was a genuine winger's performance and things that you love to see. Winger Phil Foden. Left winger Phil Foden. Who would have thought, eh? Next on the list, I want to give Rodri credit. I mean, we don't like to give Rodri credit, apparently, as a fan base, but not everyone, of course, but I have to give him credit. I thought Rodri last night was absolutely excellent. And obviously, Rodri isn't as popular as Fernandinho and maybe isn't quite as good as Fernandinho, but we have to give credit to players when they deserve it. We can't continue to stubbornly ignore good performances. And Rodri last night was genuinely fantastic in a horrible game. A game, once again, where Villa were excellent. Villa had loads of tenacity, loads of energy. He was up against a very good midfield, a battling midfield in Douglas Luiz and John McGinn, players that will not give an inch if you don't give him a chance to. And Rodri came out on top. He was physical, he was intense, he worked really, really hard. He was a big part of what made Manchester City so aggressive last night towards Aston Villa. Some games are going to be a battle, and those kind of games you want someone to step up, and I thought Rodri was really good. Okay, he may not be Fernandinho in terms of his overall game, but I feel you got to bear in mind, once again, Rodri is still only pretty young. He's still learning this game, and usually, by the way, when a team gets confident and starts to play well, other players start to play well as well. I would not be surprised to see a massive upturn in Rodri's form. Now Manchester City are finding something close to their best form as well. It shouldn't, of course, everyone should be like, everyone's got a point of saying, well, you shouldn't rely on everyone else to be good, but no, confidence is infectious, and it goes around the team and spreads around. So yeah, I think Rodri was really good, and we have to give credit to him. He was genuinely very good last night, and he's proven he can be a part of a Manchester City side that can win in many kind of ways, like last night. So give Rodri some credit. I don't think anyone struggles to give the next guy some credit. Ruben Dias, man. Ruben, stop it. You're absolutely ridiculous and you make everyone else look bad. How do you do it, Ruben? Genuinely, some of the stuff he does as a defender, it defies belief. Ruben really is a throwback to that classic era of Italian old-school defending. You're talking about your Maldinis and your Nesses. I'm not even exaggerating there. He genuinely reminds me of them. As I used to watch them as well when I was growing up, watching Football Italia on Channel 4, watching James Richardson and all that kind of stuff, commentating over it. And they were fantastic. They were the art of defending. They knew exactly where to be and when to be there. And they were all about kind of anticipating the play and all that kind of stuff. They weren't reactive. They were always one step ahead of the forwards. And Ruben Dias, he does things as a defender that you just kind of don't really understand. There was one moment last night, obviously that clearance in front of goal, where he was sliding before the cross came in. He knew exactly where that cross was going to go. And of course, there may have been a little bit of luck in terms of how he went off his foot and didn't go in the goal and went away. But the fact that he was already reading that cross, he did it against United as well. There's one bit against United where he was going down before a shot was even made. And he somehow does this all the time. He's an absolute warrior, an old school throwback, and possibly at the moment, the most natural defender in world football. I mean, maybe Van Dijk's a bit faster, maybe he's a bit more confident in the ball and all that kind of stuff, but in terms of pure defensive ability, I can't really see anyone who's as good as him in the world. He's an actual natural defender, and I think he's only going to get better as well. He'll get more confident on the ball, he'll become more of a captain for the team as well. Genuinely a freak of nature, and I absolutely love him. I mean, you can't really put into words how impressive it is that he's come here at this age and he's already been this good at 23 without the fans there, and I think he'll get better and better and better. And hands up as well if you thought he'd be good when he signed. I'm going to take that one. And finally, I'd like to talk about Joao Cancelo, because as good as Joao Cancelo has been recently, I still think there's a promise of even more to come from him. Last night, I thought he was brilliant in terms of his usefulness to the team. He's a total footballer. Guardiola, we know, loves footballers that have that ability to play anywhere and make it look so natural, be it left wing, be it right wing, be it left back, right back, be it as a central midfielder. Joao Cancelo has an ability to go forward and be useful in every single position. I'll tell you what, his defence is underrated as well. There's a few times last night when he made genuinely important interceptions and some really good tackles as Aston Villa pushed forward. And Aston Villa are a team full of very tricky players, very confident players, the likes of Grealish, obviously Barkley, Watkins, Bertrand Traore. And I thought Cancelo did a good job against all of them. So fair play to him. But the reason I'm talking here about Cancelo's promise and potential is because I genuinely think he could go up another level still. He reminds me a little bit of Dani Alves. Dani Alves under Guardiola, a complete fullback who could get forward, be involved in the attack. But the one thing Dani Alves has got over Joao Cancelo at the moment is, if I'm being honest, end product. I mean, Cancelo gets forward so well, but I think he should be getting more assists. I think he should be getting more goals because he has that technique we can clearly see. And at the moment, he's blazing his shots wide, or he's hitting the crossbar, or his crosses aren't quite as good as they should be. But I'm not criticising him, obviously, because I think he's genuinely fantastic. But I do see the potential for Joao Cancelo to go from being very, very good to genuinely world-class, genuinely special, because he could do that. If he improves the end product, and all of a sudden we've got a fullback getting like over 5 goals a season and getting at least 10 plus assists a season. This is what he should be aiming for, because he could potentially do it. You can see that he has the technique to do that. You can see that he has the technique to get forward and terrorise teams. So that's what I want to see from him. And I think Guardiola will probably be saying the same as well. Guardiola will see him right now as a project, a guy who can play anywhere. He's showing just how useful he can be to this team. But I still think, despite all this, I want to see a little bit more from him. And that's not a criticism of his overall performances. It's just, he's that good that I think he could get even better. Fingers crossed he does. But either way, last night was absolutely fantastic. I'm still absolutely buzzing from that game, genuinely. I know we were only top of the table for a couple of hours, but we were top of the table after a horribly difficult game. The kind of game where I wish all the fans could have been there to celebrate that goal from Bernardo, because it would have genuinely lifted the roof off the Etihad Stadium. It's a massive shame, but that was the most fun I've enjoyed a game of football for some time, genuinely. I know it was terrifying and nervy, but it made me feel alive, you know what I mean? It made me feel, during this horrible time, it made me feel something, and I love it for that. Thank you, Manchester City, and thank you, football, and thank you guys for watching as well. Thank you, of course, to Richard Keeler, my latest patron, and everyone else scrolling down the side of the screen. You're all absolute heroes. Thank you for continuing to support my channel. I'm closing in slowly on 50k. It'd be great to get there, and when I get there, I'm going to be a very happy man. So thank you very much for all the support. Make sure to like and get your comments down below what you learned from the game. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and go check out the player ratings video for any members as well, of course. In a bit.